I was one of the last teenagers people would expect to ever end up behind bars. When I broke the rules or occasionally the law, it was never in a future hardened criminal kind of way, but rather boys just want to have fun kind of way. In high school, I might have left a little bit early with a forged note from my mom. I might have gone to a flick with a few of my friends and occasionally slipped into another movie afterwards without paying. Sometimes it was even an R-rated movie. I might have used my family's first home computer to create fake IDs for me and my friends so we could go out to the dance clubs. You know, and with the exception of an occasional bust by my hyper-vigilant mother, I mostly got away with it, pretty much everything, until this one summer after my freshman year of college. So I'd been invited to spend a week's vacation with a good friend of mine. His name was Greg, and his family had a beach place out in Ocean City, Maryland. This is great, right? But the one problem is Greg and I's idea of a vacation involved drinking the occasional beer, which wasn't going to be cool with his parents. So we could just go out to the bars and drink. That wasn't going to work, not on a college kid's budget, right? So the other option was that we could get some beer and then pregame before we went out. So at first, we found this little public bench, you know, and it was okay. We're going to try and make it work. Wasn't ideal, but then it started raining. I mean, it was coming down, just opened up, pouring. So we start running to seek shelter. And lo and behold, there's a boat dry docked on land, a little houseboat. Greg starts heading over for it. And I yell out, "Greg, don't even bother. You're wasting your time. There's no way that thing's going to be unlocked." Sure enough, he grabs the handle, slides it wide open. Now, I'm not a fan of trespassing on someone else's property, but the fact that that door was unlocked was a sign. I saw it as a sign. Surely the owners of this houseboat would want to provide shelter to us wayward travelers. "Come on in," it said to me. So we walked in there, sat down, and enjoyed our beers like civilized men. And we were careful not to leave our trash behind. We took our empties out with us. Didn't leave a trace, right? So the next day on the beach, the whole day, occasionally we'd look at each other and we'd say, "You know what? I heard there's a party tonight at our houseboat." And we said that over and over so much that we truly started to think of it as our houseboat, our sanctuary, our home away from home. So early that next evening, we go back, get our beer, and we walk over. Sure enough, it's right where we left it, still unlocked. We go in, we put our six-pack in the fridge, we sit down, crack open a beer, toast each other to what was surely going to be a great night. We're not even halfway through the first beer, and all of a sudden, we're blinded by lights coming from every direction. No idea what's going on. We get up, we start peeking out the window. We can't see a thing, just blinded. All of a sudden, we hear a large, booming voice through a megaphone, "Come out with your hands up." We are completely stunned. We slowly walk out, only to discover there's a full SWAT team, body armor, rifles pointed in our general direction. And I froze. All I could do was just kind of talk out of the side of my mouth to Greg, "Do not make any sudden moves." These guys were fired up and geared up and ready to take down like the Colombian cartel. They were a little bit disappointed when it turned out it was just two kids in a houseboat. Nonetheless, they had us secured, handcuffed, and before we knew it, we were off, locked up in the back of a paddy wagon, going off to prison. Just a few miles down the road, Greg's starting to lose it. I could just hear him starting to slip. He's like, "Man, I don't think I can't get arrested, but I'm going to get kicked off the soccer team. I'm going to get booted out of college. My parents are going to disown me. It's going to ruin my life." Before I could even talk him off the ledge, we show up at the prison and we get separated for processing. Fingerprinted, our mugshot taken, the strip down. It was humiliating. It was awful. Couldn't have got much worse until it came time for, yes, that's right, my one phone call. So I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to think, who on earth could I possibly call beside my parents? I did not want to call my parents. My only other shot was my sister. Unfortunately, was traveling in Mexico at the time. Great for her, not so lucky for me. So I bit the bullet. I called my folks. And I hear my mom's groggy voice pick up the phone on the other end. Who in God's name is calling at this hour? And I'd say, Mom, it's your favorite son. I'm her only son, but Mom, it's your favorite son. Now, listen carefully. Greg and I have been arrested for breaking and entering. And she said, you're calling me from prison? And I said, yes, it's true, I am. But I'd like to state for the record that there was no breaking. There was a little misunderstanding on the entering part, but there was no actual breaking in. And I'll tell you the whole story later, but what I need for you right now is your undying love and understanding and for you to bail me out of here as soon as possible. Just a moment's breath goes by and she says, Miles, Andrew, your father and I did not raise you to break the law. And I think, and I'm sure he would agree with me, that what you need is to spend that night in prison. That'll give you plenty of time to reevaluate your life's decisions. And that call was over. And it did not go the way I wanted, obviously. So with my mom's disapproval still ringing in my ears, they escorted me quickly to the holding cell. I was put in there with a large group of men, all which were larger than me. And I was next to the cell that my buddy Greg was in. And we couldn't see each other, but we could hear each other talking. Now, as you can see, I'm not a big man, but Greg's even smaller than I am. And as the night went on and more people got brought into this prison, I could hear Greg's voice. I was just panicking. I had to do something. I wanted to try to bring some levity and make him feel better. So the first thing that came to my mind was to do impressions of the craziest teachers that we had in high school. So I started impersonating one of our favorites. His name is Mr. Baumgartner. Call him Mr. B. Mr. B was our comp science teacher. He could just start going on a rant. Son, put your hand down. But you couldn't possibly have a question. Maybe you just don't have the brain capacity to understand what it is that Mr. B is telling you here today. Despite what your mother may have told you, you can't always be what you want to be. You can't be a black, midget, female nuclear physicist. It just can't be done. Maybe you'd rather go outside and jump along a log and run home and enjoy a hot, home-cooked meal from your mother. I continue doing all these different impressions, nailing all our teachers, and it's working. Greg's lightening up. He's laughing. All my cellmates are cracking up. I'm getting callbacks to do other impressions, especially when new guys are getting brought in. So about 2 hours into this, Greg, wouldn't you know it, gets bailed out. So apparently his mom didn't think the same as mine about life lessons learned by spending the night in prison. So Greg's out of there. He's a free man. And I'm still in there, and my parents did not budge. So I spent the night in prison, and I did not sleep a wink. But I kept doing my little bits of comedy, and it worked. It was a long night, but I made it out of there unscathed. And early the next morning, they contact the owner of the houseboat, who went out and visited the property, checked it out, and came directly to the prison and announced, hey, there's no damage, nothing was stolen. The only thing I can tell that's any different is they left me a 6-pack of beer in the fridge. So I don't want to press charges. So just like that, I'm out. I'm a free man once again, and all charges were dropped. So many years have passed. Now I've got 3 kids. My eldest is here tonight. And if they ask, about my life wisdom from that night I spent in jail, I hope they take away that if you find yourself locked up, hopefully you've got some that you can keep that crowd entertained. It will serve you well.